Hello! So, here is a new video. Some of my friends asked me to speak about some of the Procreate tips I know, but since I'm here, I think I will talk about Procreate in general and the things I know about it. My knowledge isn't complete, so I'm just sharing what I know. But I have actually made a list of things I want to talk about. And I think we can start from the creating a new canvas, which is one of the most basic things. As you can see, I have many canvas sizes because I was making stickers a few months ago, so 1 or 2 months ago, yeah. And I was looking for a good canvas. And I will take this as an excuse to talk about the SMYK canvases or RGB canvases. So when you create a new canvas, you can either choose the default sizes that you have, or you can create a new one by clicking here, yeah, and you see all these options. You can choose the size, you can choose the DPI, that is to say the resolution. I advise you to choose at least 350 DPI. I usually have 600 instead. Depends on what I'm doing, honestly. If you're doing a color canvas, you can choose 350. But if you're doing black and white work, it's better to have 600 because it looks better. So you have the color profile here. What I wanted to say about this is that RGB is good for the web. The colors are very bright. On the other hand, SMYK is very good for printing. The colors are a little bit dulled if compared to RGB, but they are very soft and pleasant to look at when they are printed. I can show you an example of where I used SMYK. This is SMYK. You can see that the colors are a little bit duller. They're not as bright as in RGB. Well, this is an RGB color wheel. See, you can clearly see the difference. So yeah, so we can create a new canvas, and I will choose an RGB one. I'm not going to do a whole lot of drawing right now. I just want to show you some things. So I have my list here because I have the memory of a goldfish. I told you about how to create a canvas and about color types. When you create a canvas, you have to keep in mind the layer limit that Procreate has, because there are some limitations. The higher your resolution is, the less layers you will have, as well as the bigger your canvas is, the less layers you will have. So about pen settings, when you get into Procreate, you have all these things. It's very intuitive, actually. You have all your brushes. You will have the default ones from inking to water, while I have some brush packs I bought. About how to change the size of your pen, you go here on the left or on the right, depending on where you keep this bar, and you can change your size even while you are drawing. Actually, if you want to change your size more precisely, you drag your finger outside, or your pen outside, and you can change it with more precision, as you can see. And here you can change the opacity of your brush. You can do this as well you can do this while you're drawing. It stays the same. But anyways, you can change your opacity there. So yeah, another important thing is the stabilizer. You can see it here. One of the main things about Procreate is that the stabilizer is not on the screen. So I remember when I first started using Procreate, I was kind of confused because I was like, where's the stabilizer in this thing? So yeah, you can see I can draw more freely with the stabilizer off or lower, but my strokes are jittery. I'm also drawing very slowly. If I draw faster, of course, your lines are not as jittery, but if you want help, you just have to slide this upwards, and you'll see your lines be a lot smoother, even if you have a tremor in your hand, which everyone has basically a tremor in their hand. I struggle a lot to get used to the stabilizer of Procreate because it's very different from Clip Studio's stabilizer, and I am basically every video I make turns into a Clip Studio ad for free because I use Clip Studio a lot, but recently I'm getting more and more enamored with Procreate. So yeah, another important thing that is kind of basic thing is how you create straight lines. You just have to hold. You make a stroke and you hold. You can use this also to make shapes, and if you click on edit shape, you can drag it around. Unfortunately, this doesn't work anymore once you click outside. You can create all sorts of shapes. You can also create quadrilateral shapes, and you can change them here. Ellipses are everywhere in every setting. Then what about the fill tool though? The fill tool, this is the fill tool basically. You just have to take the color you want, you drag it here, and you let it go. When you have a very smooth line, it's easy for it to not leave any white specks in your drawing, right? We want none of that. But if you're using a more textured line art, it might leave those traces on your drawing. So I'm using ink bleed right now, and I will drag the color here. Can you see this? With textured brushes, this is a thing that happens. You can make it a little better if you, after dropping the color, you leave the pen on your screen and you drag it, and it becomes better. So can you see this? There are almost no traces of you using the fill tool basically. Another thing about colors, I will tell you this now because it's about like using colors, filling. For example, I drew this circle, but I want to use the color I used before. There is a shortcut for this. You just have to press on the tiny color circle on the upper right, and it will switch to your previous color. Very simple. And so you can then drag it out and do whatever you want with it. Then some advice about layers. Of course, to create a new layer, you just have to do this. You clip it like this. When you clip a layer, you will draw only on the area that has already been colored below. There are different layer modes that you can change by clicking on the tiny letter here. Lighten, screen, color dodge, add. There are a lot of them. You will discover them slowly on your own. Just experiment. One of the most commonly used is multiply, overlay, add. These are the ones that are used the most. Other things about layers: you can merge layers. This is a shortcut. You grab them with 2 fingers and then you push them together, and now they are one layer. You can also group layers. Let me show you this. If you take a layer and you drag it to the right and then you let it go, the 2 layers that are highlighted are now linked, so you can group them. However, it doesn't group the one in the middle, so if you want them to be one group, you just have to select them all, and now they're one group. A problem in Procreate that other drawing programs don't have is that you can't clip layers to groups. That is to say, I can't clip this to the group. You see, I don't even get the option, while if I just have 2 layers, I can clip to the layer below. This is unfortunate because if you want to, if you have a complex image, for example, you have a character, you have a group where you have all the layers about a character. You have the line art, you have the color, you have multiply, overlay, whatever you want to have. And I don't know, you want to add an effect on top of all this, you can't clip it. So a way that I found to overcome this, to work around this, is that you duplicate the group. Also, always be mindful of the layer limit you have, of course. You duplicate the group and then you do this. You flatten it, so you have this as a singular layer. You keep the original group intact, so if you make mistakes, if you want to go back, you always have the group to go back. You hide it, you work with your new layer, and now you can clip it. And you solved the problem. Yes, of course, you have a layer limit, so this may not always be possible, but it's one of the ways you can work around this problem. Then there are lots of effects that you can use, but I want to get into something else first, something very basic. That is to say, this is the smudge tool, for example. You can use it to smudge your shadows, or I don't know, it depends on what you are doing at the moment. And these are new brushes that have been added in the last version of Procreate, that is to say soft blend, medium hard blend, and hard blend. The difference between the medium hard brush, using this to smudge, you can see it, using this to smudge and using this to smudge, or this, I don't know, is that you can clearly see the difference. The other brush just drags the color around, while this one actually blends really nicely. So they improved a lot the smudging tools. I don't use the smudge tool a lot, so my style is not very painterly. I prefer using a mixture of cel shading and soft shading. So I use it like this, basically. If I have a hard shadow, if I have a hard shadow like this, better to follow the line. If I have a hard shadow like this and I want some parts of it to look softer, usually I do this. It's very nice if you want to make particular uses of edges or things like that. If you're drawing clothes, there are lots of uses to this. Also, if you're drawing skin and you want the shadow to look softer, you can do lots of things. It's up to you. Then, another shortcut, useful shortcut. If you're drawing with this brush and you want to keep erasing or smudging with this brush, you just have to go on the smudge tool or on the eraser and you have to press it. Keep pressing it, and you see that window popped up, that is to say paint with current brush, erase with current brush, smudge with current brush, and you see I changed brush. I wanted to get into these menus. So there is insert a file, insert a photo, take a photo, add text. Insert a photo, it's useful if you want reference. However, now there is actually a window for that. So you just have to click there on reference, and you can both see a smaller version of your canvas, which is very useful if you like to paint, if you like to zoom in and to have a tiny window where you can see your, the impact the changes you're making have on the bigger canvas. Or you can also add an image from your gallery to use as reference. Or you can also take a picture of your face. This is kind of a silly update they added, it depends. So basically it transfers your art on your face. Yeah. So add text is very useful if you're doing comics. Then there is cut, copy canvas, crop and resize. This is very useful. You just have to drag out things. However, if you are making a time lapse and you change the size of your canvas, your time lapse will not look very good. You can see the crop marks on the screen, basically, which is not very pleasant. So you have to purge your time lapse, or you have to be careful with your with the size you choose before. Then there is the animation assist. You turn it on and you can make animations. It's very intuitive. You just have to press either play, or if you keep pressing on a tiny window, I think you can, yeah, you can drag it around. About settings, you have all these settings. Frames per second, onion skin frames, onion skin opacity. Then you have the add frame. And whenever you add a new animation cell, you have a new layer here. When a layer is clipped to the one below, they are considered a single cell. It's better though to work with groups. You group them and they are a single cell. Everything is cleaner basically. I am only now discovering more things about animation. Animation in Procreate is easier. You can use it to make smaller animations, and it has some cool features. I don't want to get into all of them because otherwise this video would be a lot longer. Then there is drawing guide, thing I really wanted to talk about. If you want to link a layer to your drawing guide so that it follows the rulers you have, you just have to switch on drawing assist, and now your drawing is assisted. It will follow the lines of your drawing guide. You can edit your drawing guide to the 2D grid or isometric drawing, which is kind of good for abstract drawing. Perspective, you can add as many of these as you want. I'm sorry, sometimes I forget the words in English. I'm the worst. You can do complex perspectives. As you can see, this is a 3-point perspective. Be mindful to not put your points too close to one another, because your perspective will be warped and have kind of a fisheye lens look. It's a thing you get used to with time, to not draw warped perspectives. Then you have the symmetry tool, and basically this is the axis you can rotate. It will draw the same thing you are drawing on the other side of the canvas. I wanted to undo the drawing guide. You just have to turn it off, and yeah. Then there is the reference I talked about before. You can flip your canvas horizontally or vertically. It helps to, when you're drawing something, you don't want your drawing to be warped or weird, so you can check it. You can share your drawing, whichever format you prefer. This is the time-lapse replay. You can export your time-lapse and also choose the format, I think. You can choose the length of your time-lapse. Your preferences, you can use a light interface, but we don't use this. This is for people who want to hurt their eyes. Then you have right hand interface. See if you draw with your right hand. With your left hand, I think. I don't know. I actually draw with my right hand, but I prefer to have all the sliders on the left so I can draw with the right hand while I change settings with the left. Brush cursor, you can turn it off, turn it on, depends on you. These are your preferences after all, sorry. Connect third-party stylus, so if you have a different stylus that is not an Apple Pencil. Edit pressure curve, this is important. This is my pressure curve. This kind of mimics traditional media, I think, because I have a very light hand. So if your hand is heavier though, you must drag the points to the right, more to the right. But it's up to you. Gesture controls, you can edit all of those. You can edit how long it takes for a line to turn into a straight line. That is to say, for this option to switch on, or how long it takes to undo or redo. You undo by tapping with 2 fingers and redo by tapping with 3. Then you have the help things. Yeah, you can find lots of brushes, also free brushes on Procreate Folio, by the way. Then you have all these adjustments. These are all the adjustments. You will discover them. It's kind of, this is a lot of play. The only option I wanted to talk about is how you can change, you can make changes on the whole layer or with your pencil. If you make them with a pencil, they will affect only where you are drawing. If you want to augment the intensity of your effect, you just have to drag this like you do with the filling tool, basically. Sorry, I'm trying to... There you go. With the fill tool, and the effect will be stronger. It's up to you. Then another important thing is the liquify tool. You can use it to push things around there and modify them. It's very useful. You can also flush them down the toilet. You can unflush them. Yeah, you can do lots of things. Then you have the select tool. This is very important. The change they made is that you can color fill your selections when you draw them automatically. Yeah, brings back MS Paint memories. And this is the transform tool. You can have freeform transformation. You can also have uniform transformation, so it keeps the proportions. You can have distort, it distorts your drawing along one vertex. And you can have warp, which is a little bit more precise, it warps your drawing. Yeah, that's it. This is everything I remember. I hope my tips have been useful. If you want to, you can subscribe for new videos. I don't know when they will be made. Right now I'm having a lot of fun sharing what I know or sharing speed paints or things like that. I've been very shy about my art for a while, so now I feel a little bit more confident, and I'm enjoying helping and I'm having fun. So I wish you a good day or a good night. I don't know what time it is where you live. And I will see you in the next video if I make one. So if you want, you can add a comment. If you have more tips in mind, you can comment on the video with the tips or things I don't know. For example, I don't use masks. Still nowadays, I'm still struggling to understand how masks work. Probably I will learn them in the future. I would really like to learn them, but for some reason I just can't get them in my brain. If you know more about masks, feel free to share that, or whatever you know is appreciated. So have a good day, and I say goodbye to you. Bye bye.